Well, I got a lot of notes on this guy coming up at number 10 on my fantasy playlist of June 13th, 1986. Yes, we are in the top 10. Falco with Vienna. Call it a great dance record. Remember watching the video on Night Tracks back in the summer of 1986. Boy, bring back some vivid memories. Falco's Vienna calling. Falco from Austria. He was musically inclined when he was very young. He could keep time even when he was a little baby, just a little pint-sized baby. He was able to, well, maybe not pint-sized, maybe a little bit bigger than that, but bottom line, as an infant, he was able to keep time with the drum beats of records, and got his first piano lessons. Started taking piano lessons when he was 4 years old. Got a baby grand piano. Later on, attended the Vienna. I believe it's called the Vienna Conservatory. I wrote it down here in my notes somewhere. My notes are all over the place. Yeah. 1974, Falco started playing a variety of bands, and by 1980-81, one source had it that he was playing in a punk band as a bass player when he was discovered by an Austrian producer who got him his first record contract. And I didn't know this, or I've forgotten all about this. Falco did the original version of Der Kommissar. Der Kommissar in 1981 by Falco, and his version went to #1 in about 5 or 6 countries, particularly in Austria and Germany, which did really well, but did not impact here in the States. Only maybe like 80, 81, 82 on Billboard's Hot 100. But about a year and a half later, a couple of years later, a British group called After the Fire had a huge hit with Falco's Der Kommissar, although the After the Fire version of Der Kommissar was loosely based on Falco's lyrics. They used some of their own lyrics after the fire on Der Kommissar, and their version went to #3, #5 here in the States. Really big, one of those one-hit wonders back in 1983. But not all was lost for Falco. He was doing very well in Europe. There's no doubt about it. But he needed something to make an impact here in the States and in England as well. And he teamed up with a couple of producers, Dutch producers, Boland and Boland, Bolland, Rock Me Amadeus. That was it. That broke him into the big time. Just #1 all over Europe. Went to #1 in England, and I believe it went to #1 here in the States as well. It was just a phenomenal record for him. Rock Me Amadeus. And Vienna Calling came right on the heels of Rock Me Amadeus. Vienna Calling went to #17 here in the States, although it went to #3 in Austria and #4 in Germany. And then that was about it for Falco here in the States. He did have one more hit in the States. It was called The Sound of Music, but it was on the dance charts, not on the pop charts, although that record was a huge hit in Europe. Another song he did that was really big in Europe was called Jenny, but Jenny was controversial. Some of the DJs wouldn't play it. I'll have to listen to the record, but from what I read, the song was told from a point of view of a murderer, which is not exactly top 40 fare. I can see how it could be controversial. Nonetheless, it did very well in Europe, top 5 in a number of European countries. Falco really big in Europe, except in England and in America as well. And he released a number of albums that did well in Austria, about 3 albums, I think, that went to #1 in Austria after this one. I think it's Falco 3, which featured Rock Me Amadeus and Vienna Calling in 1998. Man, I just found this out. I didn't know he died. He's gone. He's buried. Been buried for years in Vienna. You probably know about this already, but I just found this out. Falco was in a car accident. He was driving in his SUV. This was in the Dominican Republic when he tried to merge with the highway traffic, and when he did, he smashed right into a car, and he was killed. Now, one source has it that he had cocaine and alcohol in his bloodstream. He might have been under the influence when he died. That was according to one source, but I didn't see that info in another source. But he was buried in Vienna, Austria. Gosh, it's been almost 20 years since he passed away. I just found out about it. Well, this is Vienna Calling at #10 on my fantasy playlist of June 13th, 1986.